we had a decompression phase in Cyprus where we just went and we actually let loose after that 2006 tour, and you had the whole battalion in this camp in Cyprus, and my God, if iPhones existed back then, it was carnage, mate. We'd gone down to the beach for like a day of water sports. I think it was only like 2 days or something, and that night we had a barbecue. Everyone got so lit, mate. We just had like a massive riot between the whole of like 3-para. It was amazing. And I just remember this moment where I'd gone to get some cake, and there's like a tray of like 10 cakes all laid out. And like there'd already been a few beer cans thrown. I just see this beer can come flying over. So I just grabbed like a slice of cake and just like threw it out into the crowd. And fast forward 5 minutes later and like the whole place had erupted.
Your third tour was Afghanistan, is that right?
Yeah.
And is that when it like, did you have a sort of understanding before that of like what you was getting into, or like, did it hit you at any point, you know, that you were going to war essentially?
Yeah, we went out to Iraq in 2005, which was just a pretty standard 3-month tour. Not much happened. And then it was the back end of that the Americans were going to go over and I won't say invade Afghanistan, but they were going to go over and have some presence in Afghanistan. And yeah, we got pulled into this back end of 2005, the Iraq tour. We got pulled into a room, briefed on the situation, and told that there's a potential that we would be the lead battalion that would go out and support the Americans. And then we just found out that we were going to go out in 2006. And I think at the time, like we didn't really know what we're going to get into. Like when we went out there, it was all what's known as like soft posture, where you know you go out in like you won't put your helmets on, you'll put like a soft hat on, almost to like simulate like a soft posture, like we're not there for war, it's just a present, you know, we're there for presence or whatever. But I mean, that probably lasted like all of 3 weeks, and then the first round started flying, and that was pretty much it for like the whole Afghanistan conflict.
Mentally, was you prepped for that? Like, did you, you know, once those rounds started flying, was you like, okay, yeah, I was ready for this? I mean, you would have been what, 21, 22 years old at the time?
20, yeah. Yeah, I turned 21 out there.
Damn.
No, I don't think you are prepared for it. I don't think anyone's prepared for it. I think I was quite a resilient kid. I think I was quite independent, and I think when, you know, I didn't struggle as a kid, but I think all part of finding school hard and finding being in a classroom hard builds resilience in you at a young age, whether you like it or not. If you don't like school, you're building resilience because you have to go to school every day. And even growing up in Preston, you know, I walked to school every day. It was a 1.5 mile walk to school, which isn't much, but as a kid doing it 5 times a week, well, 10 times a week there and back, whether it's like snowing, like raining, sunny, like that all builds resilience in you as a kid. I had a paper round, I had a milk round growing up, worked in a chippy. So yeah, I was you know, even as a 20-year-old, like going through basic training, like you're pretty robust. You know, if you think historically, we would have been 19, we probably would have been going to war at the age of 16. So genetically, we're set up for it as men to go to war at 16. And I don't think there is are you ready for it? It's just a matter of you're in it. And, you know, put all the fighting aside and everything, like that 6 months in 2006 was, I've only got good memories when I look back at it. Like the time we had out there, it was like our platoon and the people around me and the stuff that we did, it was like, I wouldn't trade it in for anything else. And, you know, you could argue the fact that it's Afghanistan, it was a different country, and, you know, I wish there was not war in the world. Like, I wish everyone was at peace, but I think the fact of the matter is that we're humans and we've been at war since we walked out of caves, and I think we'll be at war till we take ourselves off this planet. So as a male at the age of 20 years old, it was like normal, and, you know, felt good to be away with like lads and be in a situation that resembled a war.
What was the adjustment like when you got back?
Wasn't too bad, to be fair, after that 2006 tour. I think you're less self-aware of what's going on in your own body. So for me, like, we had a decompression phase in Cyprus where we just went and we actually let loose after that 2006 tour, and you had the whole battalion in this camp in Cyprus, and my God, if iPhones existed back then. There was a video circulating around YouTube, I think, a while back, and the whole point of the decompression phase in Cyprus is that you have a period of time before landing back in your home and seeing your family where you can literally just almost decompress, right? It's a little bit of normality, surrounded by the guys. You get to talk about stuff that you've done over there and almost just let the nervous system settle before you go home and pick your kids up or see your parents or whatever it was. And it was carnage, mate. We'd gone down to the beach for like a day of water sports. I think it was only like 2 days or something. And that night we had a barbecue, and there was like crates of beer turning up, and like everyone got so lit. And mate, we just had like a massive riot between the whole of like 3-para. It was amazing. I remember at one point, there's like a line, and like I can't remember who was on one side. It must have been like 3-para mortars and like one of the companies. In fact, I think it was only our company that went through with some of the mortar lads and some of the support units, not support units, like the heavy machine guns, the mortars. And mate, it was like a company was split. People like throwing like cake. People were throwing beer cans. People were throwing beer. And I just remember this moment where I'd gone to get some cake, and there's like a tray of like 10 cakes all laid out. And like there'd already been a few beer cans thrown. I just see this beer can come flying over. So I just grabbed like a slice of cake and just like threw it out into the crowd. And fast forward 5 minutes later, and like the whole place had erupted. Like, I remember the South African guy, Evo's got draped in like a Union flag, and he's just like naked, like stood in the middle of the whole thing with like cake and water and beer flying. And the queue outside the med center was like 8 people long, of people with like concussions and like splits down their eye where like a beer can had hit them. Yeah, it was wild.
Well, decompression, so it was, I guess, necessary as well, though, to take that moment.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that gets all that anger and frustration or whatever it is that you're carrying around from, you know, seeing your mates and fellow soldiers, you know, being killed on the battlefield. And almost that, you know, your nervous system's pretty heightened when you're in places like Afghanistan. Like if you're going out and getting into scraps every day, it's your nervous system's heightened a lot. So to just be in an area that's not connected to family, not connected to home life, and just to be able to just relax and decompress, something that's needed.
As many of you know, we are independent creators and filmmakers, but there is a massive attack on us right now. Traditional media over the last few years has started to slowly die. They are no longer the independent voice that you first thought they were. That's why we've created Mulligan Brothers Patreon. We've built something special for our most dedicated supporters, and I want to break it down for you real quick. The supporter tier gets you ad-free early access to both video and audio versions of Mulligan Brothers interviews 24 hours before it goes public. The executive tier gets you everything that a supporter tier gets, plus more. Exclusive interviews and behind the scenes content, walk and talks, daily routines, unreleased interviews, the stuff that you don't see anywhere else. And finally, the executive producer tier. Everything from the supporter tier and the executive tier, plus exclusive perks. access to our treatment packages, be the first to see which guests are coming up, and get an insight into the topics we'll be discussing before anyone else. And you'll even get an executive producer credit on every single documentary that we make. So if you've ever wanted to support the Mulligan Brothers mission of inspiring change so we can go around the world and get these stories that nobody else will, this is exactly how you do it. Go to patreon.com/Mulligan Brothers or click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Join the community and help us inspire change.